Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's Training Tuesday webinar. I am Heidi Reese, and I'm the Training Programs Manager here at Dayton Superior, and would like to welcome you. I got Mr. Chuck sitting here with us. Say hi. Oh, and a special other person from customer service, and she's going to kill me for saying, Sandra, say hey.
Hey, hey.
I know we usually don't have everybody in here, but it's a big party today, and we hope that you party with us. However, you are muted. Because if you party too much, we don't want to hear it. So, but that's okay. No, seriously, just a couple housekeeping things. Everybody who has joined muted so that because we record these and we want them to be placed on our Dayton Superior YouTube as well as DaytonSuperior.com, the channels and the website. And then if you want to listen to them later on, or you want to forward them on to a friend or someone who might be, want to watch this that couldn't make it today, they can do that and we won't have any disruptions and it's just the presenter talking. Okay, so this presentation is intended for training purposes only. Any products that will be mentioned within the presentation, please refer to DaytonSuperior.com, and you can search on any of those products and you can see the technical specifications as well as any application guides, TDS, SDSs, you name it. Just search for the product and everything will be on the product page. So who is Dayton Superior? I hope you guys can say this with me at this point. Ready? Here, we're going to say it together. We are the leading solution provider for the concrete construction industry. And I say that making a little fun, but we really are. We've got the products, the support, the engineering, and the training that you need. So not only the products of accessories and chemicals and forming, we've got the product lines within there. Today, we're going to be talking about tilt because it is Tilt Up month for us at Dayton Superior in preparation for the TCA show that'll be happening the first week of October. I cannot believe I'm saying October because we're in September now. But yeah, so we're trying to do all this so that you can get excited and get out there and learn. And, with engineering, we do have the largest engineering service group in our industry as well. And the training. So we have training, this is one aspect of it, but if you want to have more or more customized to meet whatever your company handles, we can provide that to you as well in different formats, whether it be a lunch and learn, online, inline, I almost said inline, online, in person, whatever. Just contact us at training@DaytonSuperior.com and we can get that going for you. So in addition, specifically around tilt, and it's our superior tilt. It's not just the products, although those are superior as well. We have the estimation abilities for you. You can do it yourself online. We've got engineering. We've got engineering tools. We've got the team. We've got the job site support and the training. So if any of those don't make sense, please ask any of the questions that you may have. And you can talk to me as we're presenting here through Zoom's functionality of chat or the Q&A. And we'll definitely have a 5-minute Q&A session or a little bit at the end. If we don't have time for it, I always stay online, or you can email us the questions and we will get back to you. So let's introduce who is going to be talking about tilt-up bracing solutions today. With us, we've got Mr. Manny Alicia, and he is a technical sales representative for Tilt Up, and I'll tell you a little bit about him. He graduated from the University of South Florida with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. He has over 10 years experience designing tilt-up panels, and he started with Dayton Superior as an engineer in our tilt-up organization, which I find that that's great because you have that back experience, and then he is putting it out there now with technical, and he's getting the real world application challenges, helping people out there on the job sites. And so he took that experience with the technical side and the business and began assisting customers out in the field, like I just said. And today he's going to share with us some of the information about tilt-up bracing solutions. So Manny.
Thanks, Heidi. All right, let's get started here. So a quick history about Dayton Superior. We're a key contributor with TCA and a sustaining member. We've acquired technologies such as AccuBrace and TiltWorks over the years, along with HK Composites. We have over 220 years of combined industry experience. And then within the Superior Tilt team, we have industry-leading knowledge products. It's basically a single source bundle solution within this team that you can use to provide estimates, engineering, job site solutions from people like myself, our full team of engineers, and then we have a team of estimators. So the benefits, you have a direct connection to our nationwide network of engineers, uh, project estimation services with expedited turnaround times. Normally, you're looking at 2 to 3 days for a full-blown TiltWorks estimate that our in-house estimation team, who has experience designing lift wall tilt-up walls, will do themselves. And should that turnaround not work, there are options for you to get it a little quicker, maybe on a last minute bid. Lift and brace engineering packages that include an integrated BOM, everything you could think of on a tilt wall, from lift inserts, brace inserts, to slab chemicals, rebar chairs, uh, form brackets, you name it. If it's on a tilt job, it's probably in our BOM. Engineering solutions, which can adapt quickly to ever-changing tilt-up market. Things in this industry adapt, and panels just keep getting bigger, wider. We have a very unique and strong team that is equipped to meet those challenges. And then market focus segments provided bundle solutions to customers, such as accessories, chemicals, and field services. So what are a few key factors that would contribute to what you choose or which brace you choose? Those would be like contractor preferences, types of braces, the availability, where you're going to brace to, whether it's into interior slab, exterior deadman, helical, anchor, and then what are the max wind speeds you're bracing for? Are you bracing to the standard 100? Do you need a higher wind speed, maybe because you're leaving the braces on the panels a little longer? Things along those lines. And did you know that Dayton has served as an integral part of revising the TCA wind bracing guidelines? Here's just a list of all of our pipe braces. That's a neat little animation there, Heidi. Um, Anything from our adjustable 5 to 8s to 22 to 30s. Then we have our fixed pipe braces, anything from a 17 all the way up to a 62. And just a one point, um, all the fixed braces have about 9-inch leeway. They can extend or retract a little. So let's say a 17-foot brace, really the smallest it could be is 16'3", and the longest could be a 17'9". And then, like I said, we have all the way up to our 62-foot braces. In fact, as when it comes to pipe braces, our 42, 52, and 62 have the highest capacities within the industry. And here's just an example of how you would use a typical wall brace. Here you see here is connected to a floor slab. You have a floor brace anchor, a wall brace anchor, and then you have your distance from finished floor being V, your elevation from finished floor being D, and then your length from the panel face being X. So one thing to note, the braces must be 90 degrees from the face of the panel. So basically just perpendicular from it. You are able to skew a brace within 5 degrees of that. So it's basically the longer the brace, the more you're able to skew. And here's just an example of that. Brace may be skewed left or right 1 inch for every foot. So that's just a simple, quick math way to figure that out. Here we'll talk about our connection to the wall. We have our standard foot plate, which is used for anything from a B0 to a B16. So anything from a 5 to 8 foot adjustable all the way to a 32+5. And then we have two options for anything that is 42 feet and above. You can either use a single foot plate or a double foot plate. The reason you would use a double foot plate is just to add an extra connection which to the slab, which would maximize um, the chances of you utilizing most of the brace's ultimate load. So normally the limiting factor on tilt wall bracing is a connection to the slab. Usually it's a little thinner, maybe like a 6 or 7 inch, and you can't get as much capacity out of a bolt without maybe beefing up the slab or increasing compressive strength. So one way to go around that, once you get into these really tall walls with big braces, is to add a double foot plate. That way you can have two connections instead of one. And a common name for a foot plate would also be a brace shoe. So here's just a couple examples of our coil inserts that you would cast in the face of the wall. So a T6A would be used when you're bracing to the inside of the building, and a T6A heavy is what you use as an inverted coil insert to brace outside. It'll be cast with the coil being face down. That way, when you lift the wall, you'll be able to see it on the outside using those like orange stickers. Here's an example of our slab connections, our Bearcat bolt. There's two different variants, a single and a multi-use. Both are high strength, and both you utilize a pre-drill hole, and then you would self-tap into the concrete, creating a mechanical connection between the concrete and the anchor. One couple ways to just to tell between the two. The single use has a silver hue, while the multi-use has a gold hue. One thing to note is here you can see in this image with the two circles around it. Well, the multi-use comes with a check gauge. So if the threading were to wear down too far, you use the check gauge. If it doesn't point out of the check gauge, you are fine. If you see there where it has that X through, you can see the edge of the bolt is pointing through. That is no longer good, and you need to dump it. Another insert or brace slab connection we use is a T13 coil anchor. It's a drill and expansion anchor, and each one comes with the T13, a washer, and then a tang. The tang bolt basically is used to expand as you drill into the concrete and expands into the concrete to create that connection. They're available in 3/4 inches for 4.5 and 6 inch. And the Bearcat bolts, I did not mention this, but they're available in 5 inch, 7 inch, and then we even have them in 10 and 12 inch, but mostly those are used for panel base anchors. If wind loads over 35 miles per hour or are experienced on the job, all anchors should be checked with a torque wrench to verify proper torque values are maintained. Just a couple more notes on corner bracing. Earlier we mentioned the staggering. So in order to get to the slab in a corner, you're allowed to do that stagger. But if should the pore strip in the corners be too large, what you can't do is what you see on the right, and extremely stagger it to the point where the angle is at like 20, 30 degrees. Instead, you need to brace to some form of dead man. Something that's commonly done now is being braced to the footer, should it be substantial size and able to take um, the brace forces. So a couple other types of bracing. You have bracing the slab on grade. So the buildings are generally braced to structural slabs on grade. This may not be feasible due to leave outs, pour back strips, underground utilities, multi-story buildings, site access, a building layout. So there are alternatives to this. You can use outside deadmen. You can use helical ground anchors. You can do panel to panel bracing should the distance between two panels be very short. And then bracing to an elevated deck or girder. So if you have some bracing going to the inside at a certain level, then you have another panel kind of stacking on top. You could brace to an elevated girder or deck also. One way to mitigate revisions within a job with some complicated bracing is to do a pre-engineering call. All of our engineers are, will reach out to anyone who requests it and basically go over all pitfalls you would see on a job to just mitigate revision costs and time between submittals. So here's just an example of a trench dead man. You can see here that it's dug in and then it's all at the same X dimension away from the back face of the panel, and all the braces are lined up so that they hit center into that concrete dead man. And those connections would be the same as the slab connection using a Bearcat bolt or a T13 coil expansion anchor. And then here's an example of our helical ground brace anchors. This is where we have a helical anchor drilled into the ground, and then you would connect the brace to the anchor, then using the ground itself as an anchor point. So helical ground anchors are an engineered alternative to concrete deadmen or floor slabs, reducing the associated time and labor costs. Rapid, all-weather brace locations, immediate loading when used with a helical ground anchor. Remove and relocate ground anchors if installation of braces requires adjustment. And then anchor location is adaptable, can be installed inside or outside of the structure. And then buildings on bracing on the outside of wall structure erection, especially in multi-story buildings. So mainly, if you are in a multi-story building and it's very tall, usually using a helical ground anchor will allow you to get more of the utilize more of the ultimate strength of a brace, because our helical ground anchors are stronger than a connection to a slab. So if let's say a brace usually gets around 19,000 pound working load, right? A helical ground anchor would get closer to that number than you would going to a slab. You'd probably need more braces going to a slab and using those types of braces on a big wall than you would a helical. So a couple features of the helical ground anchor. One is the STBC connector. That is a connector that we use. We take off the brace shoe from the brace and then attach this STBC connector with L pins, and then take that same STBC connector and connect it to the helical that is driven into the ground. And they could be used with any of our braces as well. Here's just an example of us driving a helical into the ground using a bobcat. And then you can see on the right, that hole, that's where you would attach those L pins I mentioned with the STBC connector. Here's an example of that STBC connector. And then on the left, you have a typical helical extension and a helical ground anchor. An extension would normally be used in instances where at the current depth you're drilling into with your helical, you're not getting the right amount of torque or pressure. In order to get a little bit more, you can use that extension to really get the most out of your soil. Here's just another full demonstration of how it would look with the brace coming from the wall, driven into the helical, and then the helical into the ground. Well, one thing to note, you have, as I've already stated, you have to remove that brace shoe. You cannot attach the brace shoe to the helical. That is not how the the system works. If anything, you'd be creating a sliding effect, which in turn would just, essentially, you're going to make sure your panel falls if you do something like that. So we have our own crews. I'm sorry, there's something else. Our HEAs are installed by DSC crews and reviewed by DSC engineers, and that are stamped by an engineer. Our HEGAs are installed installation is subject to review of the soil report. So basically, you give us your soils report, and we will review it, make sure the soil is acceptable in order to use helicals, and then we will go out there and test them, make sure all of the pressures are correct. And there's just an example of a correct installation versus an incorrect installation. You want to keep between 45 and 60 degrees on all these installations, and you need to be within, I believe, 5 degrees of the actual placement of the helical as well. So you can see there on the right that is far off of a 5 degree. 5 degree is hardly noticeable, basically. Here's just an example of an inside and outside helical application. Obviously, the one on the right isn't necessarily the best thing, but the one on the left makes more sense just because you don't want to have that first floor of girders kind of being in your way while you have braces going into that same direction. So instead, you go to the outside of it, make it easier. You can install all the girders and all your roof connections and then remove those braces. And here's just an example of a log sheet our AccuBrace team will use when installing our braces. They'll go panel by panel and know all the pressures and so on. Here's an example of a brace that's going to an inadequate slab. So that's another reason you might go to outside to helicals. If the slab on grade might be really thin, let's say like 4 inches, and you have some pretty tall panels, like a 40-foot tall panel, there's a good chance that that slab in those sections just can't handle the brace load. You're going to be sliding, you're going to possibly overturn. And in turn, you'll see things like this happen where you have a bunch of braces going to one section and you're having those issues on that slab and you're not getting a full resistance from the wind. And again, an example of multi-story panels where you're going to helicals outside. You can see here, these are very tall panels with really big braces. But there's only, if you see there, there's only 2 per panel. By having those helicals in place, you're able to mitigate the amount of braces you would need on something that tall. Here's just an example of a 4-day lift and helicals used. I think we also did different layers of bracing on this one. So we were able to quickly brace and lift all these panels within 4 days and create and finish this building. Think from here, how you should be able to actually from this last one, if you need any more information or from Dayton Superior, we have plenty of contact information, technical data sheets. You can also get in contact with any of your technical reps like myself, and we can assist you in gaining that information. So anything you need, just reach out. Think you can get it from here, Heidi?
Sorry, Manny, we're sharing the mouse, so I had to we're fighting each other on it. Thank you so much. So yeah, there's some more resources that we have available for you. If you would like tilt-up engineering services, such as lifting, point bracing, and anchors, packaging, site drawings, panel details, we have that ability. Just contact this group, tiltup@daytonsuperior.com, or the Superior Tilt at daytonsuperior.com. And there's also an estimation project engineering group, Tilt Up Estimate at daytonsuperior.com. We have a tool that I referred to, and I know there's a lot going at you right here. So if you just want to contact us and we can provide you and put you in the right direction, but you also have all these email addresses that you can contact. And if one goes to the wrong place, they'll talk to each other. So if you need an estimation tool, we have that on daytonsuperior.com. Just search for estimating tilt, and that'll be there. There's a product page, all kinds of ways to get to what you need. In addition, if you require additional training, which we talked about very briefly in the beginning, and by the way, add your questions in while I'm chatting here about our additional training capabilities into the Zoom Q&A or chat functionality, and we'll get those taken care of for you. And then back to training, just scan that QR code there and you can request a training from Chuck and myself. It goes to our email address. Or if you don't have a phone handy and you can remember training at daytonsuperior.com, just plug that in and shoot us off an email and we'll get to talking with you and get you all ready. All right, any questions? As a reminder, we put every one of these out on the Dayton Superior YouTube channel. So if you're subscribed to that, you will automatically see when I post it. If you prefer to go to DaytonSuperior.com, you can search for Tilt Up Training, and you'll find the Tilt Up Training page of all the old Training Tuesdays that we've done in the past. There's a page that has all of the ones that we've done the last 4, and then it'll shoot you off by product and by application type, depending on what you want. And so you can get to all of those whenever you need them. And it looks like, Manny, you are off the hook. There are no questions coming through.
I do
We
have one thing to
appreciate.
add.
Oh, go ahead.
In terms of communication, I know we mentioned all the emails we have. A lot of that's for internal use, in order to keep things organized for ourselves. I know it could be a little daunting having like 3 or 4 emails to send to. If people like instead, you can easily just contact myself or Dave Jaquette. So it'll be my name, Manny Alisea at DaytonSuperior.com, or David Jaquette at DaytonSuperior.com. We'll be able to kind of just navigate you through, make sure we copy these sources to make things a little easier for you. So.
And very good. Thank you for that. Here is, if you go to DaytonSuperior.com, I keep saying that, but there's a ability that says contact us. This right here will take you to this page that, let's see, right here. And you can click on the map that says Dayton Superior, and it'll give you all of the email addresses and the phone numbers specifically to Manny and to David and to anybody who is your DSM and your customer service person for your region. So you just pick your state and find your contact information. Thanks, Manny, for that. I like that way better for contact. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week for another Tilt Up. It is going to be HK Composites insulated wall panels coming up next week. So sign up for that, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.